Hello Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more r/am I the butthole. If you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, that like, maybe that notification bell as well, and let's dive into today's stories. Much love guys. This story is from Girlfriend Restaurant, titled Am I the Arsehole for very rarely, almost never wanting to go to restaurants because my girlfriend makes food that's just as good, if not better, than restaurant food. And it does follow with an update as well. I've been with my wonderful girlfriend for a few years now, and we usually get along great aside from this current issue. You can skip to the TLDR if the exposition is too long. She's a self-proclaimed foodie, which I honestly think is just selling herself short. She's a food genius. She can taste and smell a dish and then turn around and recreate it, and even make it better than the original. If you taste something and wonder what's that super subtle flavour, she'll tell you. It's anchovy, pasta, sumac, lavender, some other obscure spice that you would never think of. When someone is cooking something and they go, it's missing something, she can tell you exactly what it needs. It doesn't stop there. She knew I had touched a diesel truck at work one morning as I walked into the house that night because she somehow could smell it on me. It's either really cool or really creepy depending on the day. That's not it either. She heard about a lost family recipe and the next week, bam, I'm eating my grandmother's homemade sausage again for the first time in 15 years. It's gotten to the point where I don't see any point in going out to eat, pretty much ever, except maybe her birthday. Even the most exotic ingredients aren't out of her reach either, and even though it's not about cost, I've saved up more being with her than I ever have in any other relationship. The only places we really go for date night is ramen. She can't figure out how to make the noodles, but she still tries, so it's just a matter of time, and sushi. Our anniversary was recently, and I had noticed that our local fish counter was selling sushi grade fish, along with the rolling mats and nori. So I suggested that we have homemade sushi for our anniversary dinner before going out, and she got upset and said, I'm not learning how to make sushi because then I'll never get a real date ever again. We ended up going out instead. It kinda took me by surprise that she got so mad though. She's lightly mentioned wanting to go out occasionally to places like Olive Garden because she likes the red sauce, or other places because she likes the food. And now that I'm thinking about it, she's gotten kinda gloomy because I've asked her to cook on date nights instead of going out more often. She also brought up that food she cooks tastes better to me because she's tasting and smelling it while it cooks, so her senses are dulled by the time it's served. But she has the most acute sense of smell and taste I've ever seen, so I kinda think that's just an excuse. I just don't think it's worth to go out and pay restaurant food prices when we can stay home for food prices and have food that's just as excellent. And then there's a bunch of edits from OP on this one, which I'm going to cover straight away because otherwise it get too confusing in between the comments and back again. So first edit, it's not about the financial aspect of staying home versus going out. I just thought it was worth mentioning because it's been more of a saving than expected. Edit 2, I'm taking her out tonight to grovel guys. I'm going to politely ask that if she finds this off of Twitter, please don't smother me in my sleep for being such a dick. Edit 3, no Twitter, I don't buy her flowers, thanks for rubbing it in. I buy her herbs and succulents. What flowers do I buy a woman who likes to preserve them afterwards? Also yes, I wash the dishes. Final edit. Okay guys, this will probably be my last edit. This post exploded unexpectedly and I've tried to respond to as many comments as I can, but there's just too many of you. If you've asked me a direct question and I haven't answered, I'm sorry, my inbox is a mess. I really took everything you guys said to heart, and I can honestly say that I have been an arse, and it's really hurt my relationship with my girlfriend. It's honestly a surprise that she's still my girlfriend after everything. So her mum picked up the girls and I took her out to a really nice tapas restaurant. She was very excited and seemed to enjoy herself, and I apologised for being stupid. After, we took a walk and everything seemed perfect, so I asked her to marry me. Ah, she said no. She did it kindly, but she still said no. She said that it wasn't a no forever, but she didn't want to commit to a one-sided relationship, and also said she doesn't think it's fair that our relationship happens on my schedule or my terms. I'm pretty heartbroken. I thought everything was pretty okay between us, but she thinks we should go to premarital, pre-engagement, counselling, and the division of labour needs to change over a serious sit-down conversation. So Reddit, you were all right. I'm the arsehole who almost lost the love of my life, and most of you were right. It wasn't over restaurants. And as I said, we do have an update to this one as well. Now, before all the edits and, all this sort of stuff, I was definitely thinking that you were the arsehole for thinking of her in this way. And I tried to put myself in her shoes and coming home and knowing that I'd be cooking every day and having to make these elaborate dishes for you. Assuming they're kind of elaborate the way you've gone on about it, which takes preparation, time, buying all the stuff and all this kind of thing. And it sounds like you've done none of the cooking at all, so of course you were going to be the arsehole. We're going to cover a couple of the comments, then we'll move to the update to see what that says. With Nee who says, "Good lord, completely you're the arsehole. Read the last line, dude. You said you have your own private chef. Do you think your wife wants to cook every single night for you? Fuck no. She makes sacrifices of her time, she cooks for you, which sounds like a lot. So why can't you sacrifice some of your time to take her out and possibly show her thanks for the things she does for you? Jeez man, you're being thick. Maybe that's why she got upset at the thought of never being taken out for dinner again. And I feel like you should bring this up with her directly if it's upsetting you. Maybe tell her you love her cooking more than any restaurant food and she'll love the sentiment and want to cook more. Or maybe she'll say she needs a break from cooking sometimes. Just talk to her." Impressive Grapefruit says, "You're the arsehole. You don't have a private chef. You have a girlfriend who I assume is doing all the work on the grocery shopping, meal planning, cooking front while you reap the benefits. I seriously hope you are helping to clean up the kitchen after dinner at the very least. I also hope, since she's doing all of that work, you've picked up the slack in other areas of housework. She wants a night off for date night. That's not unreasonable. Please order Corn says you're the arsehole to the point where I'm getting mad reading this. No offense, put yourself in her shoes. You want to relax and spend time with your partner, little to no stress involved, but she insists that you spend what I imagine to be at least an hour or more of prep every time you have a date. And I assume you're not having a date too. She's not your personal chef and I feel insulted on her behalf that you're thinking of her like that. She likes cooking, cool. She doesn't live to cook for you. She clearly has suggested going out multiple times and therefore has voiced her desires to not do home dates where she has to put in her time and labour. You're the arsehole, 100%. Sorry." Edit, actually I'm not sorry, and I'm still mad 3 hours after seeing this. You're lucky she hasn't broken up with you for being this selfish. Hate Making Names 1 says and quotes, "I practically have a private chef." Yes, you're the arsehole. She doesn't want to be your private chef, nor does she want to be treated like one by you. I could be wrong here, but I doubt Olive Garden is really where she wants to go. She likely just wants to go anywhere. Take her favourite restaurant if you've paid enough attention to know what that is. And one more from Not Really an Elf who says, "You're the arsehole and you're also missing something really important. She's a foodie and foodies love eating new food. They like surprise and discovery. I bet she'd love to go out and try new things with you. Instead, you're treating her like a domestic servant. Honestly, I wonder how else you're taking her for granted." Now let's move to the update to see what that says. So update. A few months ago, I posted this post asking if I was the arsehole for not wanting to take my girlfriend out to restaurants. It blew up, it ended up on Twitter, people shared it to Facebook. The general consensus was yes, that I am the arsehole, and it just went downhill from there. A couple of people told me to end myself, so thanks for that. More than a couple of people told me they hoped my girlfriend broke up with me. Well, after I posted and proposed and was rejected, things got pretty awkward between us for the first time in 5 years. She started to get snappy at me easily. She stopped being as affectionate to me. She started making pretty much nothing but casserole. Everything changed. To clarify, she usually liked to make more involved food than casserole. Then one day, like 3 weeks ago, she threw down the spoon she was using to serve the 1000th casserole this month and snipped at me. Do you seriously fucking think I actually like eating at Olive Garden? Guys, she saw the post. She was furious. She doesn't like Olive Garden. She'll eat there because the kids love it and it's cheap. I was right about the red sauce being non-acidic, but, well, in her words, she never developed a taste for pasta. She's Latino. Do I ever see her make pasta? No. A meal isn't complete without rice. You don't know me at all. She yelled about Olive Garden for a solid 20 minutes. It wasn't just about Olive Garden, but it was a lot about Olive Garden. Long story short, we've been separated for a few weeks now, and it's not looking good. She loves and respects me, but feels it's best for her to respectfully disengage. From me, for her own personal betterment. So yeah. And some final edits to clarify a few things. 1. I didn't post on April 1st. 2. I say that she yelled about mostly Olive Garden because she did. She was really embarrassed that a bunch of people on the internet were making fun of her over Olive Garden, where the kids are catered to. 3. She did not call herself Latino. She calls herself Latinx, but I thought Latino would be less confusing. Guess it just made me look like a dick. So not a positive ending on that update. But what do you guys make of this story? What do you make of the update and the way OP treated them originally? Was there ever going to be a solution to this, do you think? Let us know in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account titled, "Am I the arsehole for moving out, taking all my stuff and not telling my roommates? I, 19 female, live with 3 other girls, 19 to 20, in an apartment on campus. Since it's an apartment on campus, it's a 2-bedroom with 4 people, so everyone shares a room. I share a room with B, C and D share a room. Between me and D, we furnish the whole apartment. I want to acknowledge that I am the bitchy roommate. I call everyone out on money, food, and cleaning. I'm a full-time college student and I work 40 hours a week on top of that, but I'm also the one who does the most chores. Since I'm the only one with a job, my roommates expect me to buy everything for the place, toilet paper, garbage bags, etc. And they get mad that I ask them to pay me their share of. I really enjoy cooking and it's a huge stress relief for me. For the first month of the semester, we did group groceries and group meals. It was cheaper and we would be getting better meals. I figured out we could get 2 weeks worth of meals for around $30 to $40 each every 2 weeks. I make the grocery list and cook the meals. After about a month, B and C said they don't want to do group groceries anymore because it's too expensive. I now cook meals for me and D. We shop together and split the cost 50-50. I'm cooking food for me and D still, but B and C expect me to make them food. I told them they didn't pay for food, so I'm not making them any. So now they go out to eat and get takeout every night, then complain that they don't have any money. B has a boyfriend, he comes over and spends the night too. I share a room with B. I've asked her, let me know before he comes over. She did for a month, now she tells no one. He comes over and takes naps in her bed when she's not in the room and I'm trying to do homework. I've asked not to have him spend the night if I'm intoxicated due to trauma. I woke up after drinking and he was in the room asleep without her, so I did not fall back asleep and was not happy. He comes over all the time now and she just doesn't let us know. I'll jump in the shower in the morning and when I walk back to my room in just a towel, he'd be sitting on her bed while I try to get dressed. I am in therapy and because of the pandemic it's virtual, so I do it in my own room. I can't help it if there's people home, but I've recently figured out that they've been listening to my therapy sessions. I'll talk about things in that session that I don't talk about with anyone else. Somehow C and B will bring it up later that night if it's something about the apartment and them. When I move out, they will have absolutely nothing in the apartment. No pots or pans, couch, a coffee table, a TV stand, or decorations, etc. I already cancelled my housing contract for next semester. It isn't going to be worth $2,000 for me. So I left for 2 weeks, packed up most of my stuff and left with it. I only told D that I was leaving for 2 weeks, so B and C have no idea where I am or most of my stuff and I'm honestly fine with it. Am I the arsehole? Now my only concern for this one was for D. She actually sounds like a kind of decent roommate to me. And it's a shame that D wasn't going with you, right? But absolutely not the arsehole to me. I wouldn't want to live with these people either, expecting you to be paying for their food and then they had takeout. Then that's the cheek to complain that they ain't got enough money for food anymore. What are these people? Nanny2721 says not the arsehole. You don't owe them an explanation. They continuously cross boundaries and didn't respect you enough. Your roommate's boyfriend is nasty too. He's sitting there knowing you need to get dressed. That's gross. If you share a room, he shouldn't be staying over like that. Also, you own that stuff. They're adults and can figure their shit out. You should try and get a place with D. Edit, you do not owe people who treat you badly an explanation or another chance to talk you out of it. The only person who truly matters in your life is you, OP. You told roommate D what was up because she respected you. You don't owe the other two anything. They were abusive and horrible to you. Worry about yourself, not if you hurt their feelings. They should have considered yours if they wanted you to consider theirs. Skidoo says, your roommates sound awful. Moving out and taking your stuff is clearly not a problem. You are free to do so. The only real question is whether doing it with no notice is an arsehole move. I am leaning not the arsehole. It would be nice to give them a heads up you are leaving, but you aren't obligated to do so. Forward Plenty says not the arsehole. When things become intolerable in an apartment living situation with a roommate, about the only thing to do is move out. Sometimes you have to do things first and then let them know later to avoid unpleasant confrontation. They have shown that they will change their behaviour for a short time, but end up going back to their old patterns. De facto moving in a boyfriend into a shared bedroom is an absolute arsehole move. Your bedroom is an environment that you are supposed to be safe in. Instead, you need to figure out how to change while the boyfriend sleeps in the room. Totally unacceptable. One more from Storage Funny 175 who says not the arsehole. Do what you gotta do. You paid for all that stuff, so it's yours to take. Now put yourself in OP's shoes. What do you think about this situation? Just moving out just like that. They did give D a warning, but do you think it's enough of a warning? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Candy Pops. Am I the arsehole? Bought my ex-wife a new car and helped her with some bills. Now my wife is mad. My ex-wife was a stay-at-home mum during our 16-year marriage. And since we got married very young, she has very little job experience and is in her 40s. She works at a diner as a waitress currently. She no longer receives alimony from me since she remarried, automatically stopping the payments which were originally lifetime, due to the fact that she was in her mid-30s with no education or job experience. Well, now that they divorced, she's had to get a job, since unlike with me, she didn't get hardly any spousal support from her last husband. The thing is, she doesn't make enough to really do much of anything. I have a lot of disposable income, likely more than people reading this would be willing to believe, and she has no disposable income. She fell way behind on bills and reached out to me as a last resort. So I asked my wife, thinking she'd say okay. She did not, and almost immediately after, my ex and her car were involved in an accident. She had a hospital bill which totaled 77k, and I paid that expense along with buying her a new car and gave her money to catch up on bills, with extra to pay her monthly expenses till she gets back on her feet. My wife was pissed when she found out. She claims my ex needs to fend for herself, but my ex is only in this position because she had to drop out to take care of our baby and ended up just staying home. When we split, she didn't have the credentials to make a living wage. I had quite literally no choice. I told her it would be cruel to watch the woman who enabled me to get where I am suffer. She lost it and now won't talk to me. And I was looking for some information if it's wife's money that he was using, or I know they're married, but I was just wondering where the money was coming from. And I found this comment from Take Me to Tinseltown, who says, info, are you the sole breadwinner in your household? In other words, was the money you gave away earned exclusively by you? To which OP replied saying, yes, I'm the sole breadwinner. But we're married, so what's mine is hers. I'm not someone who believes the breadwinner is some sort of monarch. I make the money and she manages it. It works for us. With Mercy, who says, not the arsehole. I can see how your current wife might be bothered by this, but at the same time, she's the mother of your child, and you had the ability to help. Personally, I'd prefer my husband not to be selfish if this were a situation we were in. Broken Landmine says, difficult. I would say not the arsehole though. You acknowledge your ex made sacrifices and you want to show gratitude. I would say that makes you a caring person who wants to do right by the mother of his kid. Mac Miles says not the arsehole. It's one thing if she would be pestering you for money or trying to take advantage of you, but it's another if they're down on their luck. It's important to take care of people that got you where you are and that you spent a significant amount of your life with. You ultimately want separate paths, but that doesn't mean you should watch them crumble. What you did was incredibly generous, and I'm sure it doesn't go without appreciation. That kind of act is honestly life-changing for the recipient and incredibly rewarding for you as well. I understand your wife's point of view, but I think she should really try to widen her horizons to see the bigger picture. You're not being extorted. You've made the decision yourself as an adult and weighed any repercussions. Luffy Tempest says, no one's an arsehole here. Your current wife has a right to be mad, but your ex-wife is the mother of your child and, like you said, is the reason you are able to make something of yourself. You're being a decent human being by not letting her fall flat on her face. You said you had money to blow, so at least you're spending it on a person who is down on their luck rather than a new sports car. Max V331 says, soft you're the arsehole. It's great that you want to help out your ex and understand that taking care of your child is the reason she's in her current financial situation. But spending close to 80k behind your current partner's back is not right. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership and you just made a large unilateral decision. I doubt you'll keep this marriage if you keep it up. Straight as pasta says, not the arsehole for what you did because your heart was in the right place. Soft you're the arsehole for how you went about it. I'll probably catch a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but I think the problem lies with the fact that you asked your wife and then still did what you wanted anyway. In my opinion, you should have informed your wife that you were going to be doing these things for your ex. She may have still been upset, but probably not as much. I think anytime you ask a question, especially one to your SO, you need to be willing to accept their answer or at least come to a compromise. Doesn't sound like that was your headset going into it. If you aren't willing to consider a no in a response to a question, then it should be a statement instead. And one more from Chemical Cut 7396 who says, I think a lot of people are taking into account the amount you spent to justify their answer. In my opinion, the amount doesn't matter because you said you can afford to spend that without making a difference to your current living situation. You did the decent thing and your heart is in the right place. I'm sorry your current wife doesn't see it this way. Not the arsehole. Now, what do you guys make of this one? I'm still at ends about it, I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you think of it, and on all of today's stories if you choose to share them. I would love to hear them as always. A huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending 20 to 30 minutes with me on the daily. Getting involved on the channel means the absolute world. I hope you did enjoy them and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys. Much love.